It's a Saturday for me in Los Angeles, and because I am a total space nerd, I've come to North Hollywood, to Norton Sales. This place is legendary in the aerospace industry. For decades, they've been hoarding any sort of space junk they could get. No less than a young pup of an Elon Musk and a equally puppy Peter Beck from Rocket Lab came here before they started their giant space companies. You can look around, find a valve, many valves, a turbo pump, whatever you need. If you see The Mandalorian, Star Trek, Star Wars, pretty good chance they picked up a few objects from this place.
3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
If you too want to get space junk, you should come, and if nothing else, you can sit in a pod.
Los Angeles' aerospace history goes back 100 years. Some of the first plane companies were here. Some of the first rocket experimenters, too. LA helped turn the US into an aerospace superpower. The old guard is still here. But now, there's Elon Musk's SpaceX and a half dozen more rocket startups, not to mention myriad more new satellite and space manufacturing companies. SpaceX has turned into the towering giant of commercial space, and many of its spawn have turned LA into the center of the commercial space revolution. As luck would have it, I know just the man to explain how this happened and where this is all heading.
If you are a nerd like me, LA can be a magical place. You can be by an oil refinery and then a space startup at the same time. I'm here to meet Tom Mueller. He's the CEO of a startup called Impulse Space. He's the dude who built the first engines for SpaceX. He's a gearhead. He's my kind of people. And I think you all should come meet Tom.
This was the engine that I designed actually before we even incorporated
Like this
Impulse.
was just floating around in your
Just
head.
fooling around. I don't know, it just snowballed and became a company. And
Yeah.
here we go.
Yeah.
We're off and running.
Can we check out this guy?
Yeah.
My relationship with Tom goes something like this. He makes cool space hardware, then tries to explain it to me while I nod and smile.
If you burn past that, you have what are called cosine losses.
Okay.
So you just do a whole bunch of short burns, like when you're doing the Holman transfers. Like you have a huge, like say you're going from Leo to Geo, and you gotta do like 4 kilometers. Well, that's gonna take like, you know.
The man has a beautiful mind. And after 18 years sweating it out under Elon, he started his own space company, Impulse. I will show you its wonders in a minute. But first, Tom offered to drive me around town in one of his many fast cars.
Oh, yeah.
In addition to being a rocket god, he's an amateur racer.
Yes. How many tickets have you gotten in LA?
I haven't had any lately, but I've got quite a few.
So the racing, you just jumped into it and you just...
Yeah, it's pretty addicting. It's you wouldn't be doing it unless it was fun because it's crazy expensive.
He may spend his spare time racing Porsches now. But Tom comes from humble roots.
You're an Idaho man originally.
Yeah, born and raised. Me and my brothers were pretty wild, riding bikes, hiking, going out in the woods and playing all the time.
When did it become obvious to you that you were gonna build rocket engines?
I forget where I saw it, of course, but like, you know, on some magazine or something, you fill out a form and you order these Estes rockets and wait, you know, weeks for it to come.
Like the model rockets? Yeah,
Yeah, the little model
kits.
rockets. Yeah, the little kits. And I built a lot of those. And then I got into high school and took a math class. And my math teacher said, well, Tom, you're really good at math. Yeah, you're going to be an engineer, right? I go, no, I'm going to be an aircraft mechanic. He's like, do you want to be the guy that fixes a plane or the guy that designs the plane? That totally changed my life.
When did you first move to LA?
1985.
The aerospace industry has had so many ups and downs. When you arrived, was it like a boom cycle?
It was a boom. It was the Reagan era, Star Wars,
Yeah.
and all that was going on.
So it was the good times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom worked for the next decade and a half at companies like Hughes Aircraft and TRW. But then LA's space scene and the space scene in general hit a major funk. Innovation stalled, government and military bureaucracy reigned supreme. And then, out of nowhere, the PayPal guy turned up in LA and started talking about his dream to build a colony on the red planet.
I don't think we should be going back to the moon. I think we should be focused on Mars.
Half the people, well, more than half would be telling this guy, Elon, that that's crazy, but then there's gonna be this group of people that wanna give it a go, right? And you end up as one of those.
Yep. Yeah, I think there's a lot of naysayers. I was not able to hire very many people early on because they just didn't think a small company could do it, right? But Elon, you know, he just has this spirit, like, we're gonna do it come hell or high water. All right, now this is the building right up here.
The first SpaceX building?
Yeah.
Oh, it is a fish place now. How long were you guys here? It was the first what?
I think we moved in about June of 2002, so it was 5 years. The machine shop was straight back here. We built the first Falcon 9 first stage in here, and famously had to, like, remove all the landscaping to get it out.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
shouldn't this be like a historical landmark or something?
Yeah. It's funny that it's like a fish market or something.
Traditional aerospace folks thought of SpaceX as a complete joke, and the company had plenty of struggles during its first years. Still, Tom and the rest of the SpaceX team kept at it. They built their engines, named Merlin and Kestrel in California, and then commuted to Texas to test them. Sometimes they worked, sometimes they didn't. In 2008, all the hard work paid off in spectacular fashion. SpaceX made it to orbit with a liquid-fueled rocket, a first for a private rocket company.
Elon always knew that we were going to be super successful. Like, he always said, someday our name's going to be like as big as Boeing's. And I'm like, yeah, all right. Holy he was right.
Tom didn't make much money at SpaceX. But his pride and his accomplishments keeps him warm at night.
Stop it, hit the middle button, and then you hit it and it'll go the other way.
Just kidding. He's loaded.
This is like when you know you've made it, when you've got a Ferrari spinning around in your
I'm blessed.
garage.
SpaceX has been very good to me.
Are you worried that you have a problem?
Oh, I definitely have a problem.
Then there's the decked-out home workshop, where Tom can relive his glory days flying hobbyist rockets.
So this is probably the smallest liquid rocket ever flown, 25 pounds of thrust, 1.5 inches in diameter.
It's kind of like a cool part of Southern California, though, is this whole thing where you can go from LA to Mojave and just go do whatever you want.
Yeah.
1, ignition.
It looks like I might be able to salvage the engine on this bead.
You know, look what came out of it. You know, because I was known for making nice parts. When Elon came and he knew some people in the club, He said, hey, I need an engine guy. They recommended me, and that's how it happened.
Yeah.
All right, we gotta be careful. This is a construction zone out here.
And of course, the greatest man cave of all time.
So this is the Merlin 1A. So this was the original flight engines that we flew on the first 2 flights. I know every part of this thing. I've machined pintle tips for this thing, and we lived this engine.
The room is filled with the spoils of Tom's 4-decade career in aerospace.
This right here is a LMD injector. This is a lunar, what they landed on the moon. When Armstrong was throttling, trying to find a place to land, he was throttling this engine.
Eagle looking great. Your go.
If you're anything like me, you could spend days here. But there's no time to hang around with relics of the past. Next stop, LA's Aerospace Future.
Right when I started covering SpaceX, it was like the U.S. aerospace industry is really sad and depressing, and young people didn't want to work there. And then you guys were at it for now these like 20 years, but now there's no more exciting country anywhere. Not only do we have SpaceX, but we've got small rocket makers, we've got tons of satellites.
Everything, just the flywheel effect of SpaceX has started the space. Really, this is the modern era. The space age started right there.
Now that companies like SpaceX have made getting off planet relatively affordable, space ventures are popping up all over LA, cooking up wild ideas to try out in orbit. Like Varda Space Industries, run by William here, a SpaceXX. They set up shop a couple of years ago in this former skateboard warehouse.
Varda is the first in-space manufacturing and Earth re-entry company. So what we do is we take advantage of microgravity to make unique products, since it's a unique environment, and then we sell those products back on Earth.
People have talked about this for years, but you're really the first that are going to try to do manufacturing in space.
Exactly. So it's not my idea, or it's been around for decades. People have just been waiting for launch costs to drop low enough to make this economically feasible.
Varda's first space manufacturing project will be, essentially, molecules. It's been shown that novel atomic structures can be formed in microgravity. The hope is that more useful things will result, like new life-saving medicines.
The pharmaceutical industry just thinks of us as a bioreactor, and then when they walk away, we just take it and we put it to space real quick, and then we bring it back, and that's equivalent to turning the gravity knob off for that chamber while we run that automated process.
You guys also have plans for possibly like giant factories.
That's more in like the 10 to 20 year time frame. The first thing you'll see is just rapid cadence of small launch vehicles to take advantage of microgravity.
Yeah.
The bet that we're making as a company is that manufacturing comes before tourism, and as the next step of commercialization of the cosmos.
For now, Varda's molecular magic will take place in this small capsule that they call the bird bath.
So this one has served its purpose. It's been on a parachute drop test quite a few times. This is kind of the dilapidated test vehicle.
Inside the capsule is where the weightless chemistry happens. I would love to show you what that looks like, but...
We can't do the payload yet.
So that's secret.
Which means it's time for our recurring segment. A child draws the proprietary technology.
Can you describe it in as much detail, and we will create an artist representation?
Hi, my name is Rian Shaw. I'm going to draw some pictures for you today.
So we're taking two fluids, mixing them together, and then putting them through a temperature profile. It is
What's a
just that
temperature
interesting.
profile?
Oh, good question. Okay. So what I mean by that is just changing the temperature as a function of time. So, you know, first we put the crock pot on high to get everything warm, and then you put it on low and you let it simmer for 8 hours.
I still don't understand.
The outer part's aluminum.
Okay.
And then the inner part's two vessels with the main sources of liquid, the solvent and the anti-solvent. They get mixed through a series of tubes and a series of growth chambers for the molecules that we want to formulate. And then we put them through a temperature profile to stimulate that formulation.
All done.
And there you have it. Space drugs are cool, obviously. But space has more to give, so much more. And some of those flying rocks above us are worth a whole lot of Earth money.
Which part of the adventure are we at?
Which part of the adventure?
Jose is the CTO of Astroforge, which is engaged in the get-rich-slow scheme of asteroid mining. He, too, used to work at the Birdman's Intergalactic Phallus Company before moving into space prospecting along with CEO Matt.
Asteroid mining, I mean, it's like fairly simple conceptually, I guess. These asteroids, well, we know, right? They contain just huge quantities of minerals and elements, and the quest is just to go get them.
Yeah, so we're specifically targeting what are called the metallic group asteroids, or M-type asteroids, right? We know that they have a much higher percentage of platinum group metals on them, right? These 6 elements that are a ton of industrial use cases that you may have seen or been used for. I mean, your iPhone itself contains all of these metals inside it to make it operate and work. And we're running out of them on Earth. You can't just go make these, right? We have to find a new source. We have to find a new expanse that we can go grab them from.
Astroforge is not quite ready to send Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck to an asteroid. But they are busy developing all the tools for the job. The office is littered with experiments in vaporizing space rocks and detecting the valuable minerals inside. On the day we visited, the team was preparing for its first stab into the void.
This will be the first in-space refinery to fly. So we take an asteroid-like sample up. It's already loaded.
Okay.
We vaporize that sample, and we keep what's valuable to us, which is the platinum.
So you tested all this stuff here on Earth, and then now this is a chance to go into orbit and see if things work as expected.
Yeah.
And then later this afternoon,
yes,
this goes towards a SpaceX rocket.
That's right. We're going to go drive this thing up to Vandenberg, and it's going to get integrated onto the deployer, and then that'll get integrated onto the Falcon 9.
If all goes well, Astroforge aims to visit an asteroid for the first time later this decade and bring back more than 2,000 pounds of platinum. It might all sound a bit fantastical, but for Jose, it's the next logical step for a space industry he helped build.
I got into asteroid mining because I love exploration and deep space. SpaceX was a way for me to enable that for others. I just didn't realize that I was going to enable it for myself.
Right, so open up all these possibilities. So like in the past, if you wanted to do an asteroid mining mission, I mean, you would probably have to buy an entire rocket, which you're lucky if it costs $300 million.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you guys are going to pay, say, less than $5-6 million somewhere.
Yep, for a very high energy launch to get out, and so we don't have to carry as much propellant. We don't have to build a bigger vehicle. Like this is game changing.
People love this car.
From his carefree manner and the fact that he has time to drive me around LA, it might be obvious that Tom no longer works for Elon. He started a space company of his own.
What stage are you at?
Yeah, we're fully in it.
Yeah.
And we're raising our Series A right now, so it's getting pretty intense. I hear all the founder story and how hard it is to get money. It's pretty easy for us.
It's got to be okay for Tom Mueller.
Yeah, can't complain. We're doing all right. We'll do fine. Yeah.
Impulse makes space engines, which, as the name implies, move things around in space. Cheap rocket flights have led to a surge in the number of satellites, and those satellites often need thrusters to maneuver into the correct position. Impulse wants to make those thrusters powerful and efficient enough to help humanity conquer the vacuum.
The future you're laying out is one where there's lots of stuff up there, it's moving around, things are getting refueled, this thing's going over there for this job.
If you watch your sci-fi shows, any of them, they're moving, right? They're not just sitting in one place hanging out. We're all about movement in space. We're a space logistics company.
It's an undertaking that naturally starts in Tom's home workshop.
It's gonna be a 5-second delay, and then it's gonna be a 5-second burn.
Okay.
Everybody ready? On 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Super cool, man.
That'll light it.
Yes, this is a real prototype space engine, which Tom designed and built all by himself in his garage.
You don't miss doing the big giant stuff.
20 years at SpaceX, I got my fill of the booster engines.
Yeah.
And now the next thing is in space.
Yeah.
Like, we want to do like lunar landers, and we got the Mars program. Like, it's just super cool.
When he's done tinkering with his designs, Tom brings them to the Impulse team so they can be put through their paces and developed into space-worthy products.
How long of a burn?
180 seconds. You can go longer if you want.
No, that's fine.
This chamber simulates the vacuum of space, where the engine will eventually do its thing. Elsewhere in the office, you can find craft designed to visit other planets.
We got to sack up and land on Mars, so this is a Mars lander development vehicle. We call it the Hopper, that we're going to take out to the desert and do hop tests with it.
Yeah, so governments, space agencies have been to Mars, but no commercial entities ever landed anything.
We'll be the first.
You guys are ambitious, right? It's 2024 for this is the goal?
26.
Okay.
This is like my early design here.
Tom thinks big, and he has sky-high aspirations for the new space economy.
I really want to see like manufacturing in space, like what Varda's doing, and I think at some point they're going to start thinking like, why are we lifting all of our raw materials from the gravity well of Earth up when it's literally like 22 times easier to bring it from the surface of the moon?
As if moon mining wasn't enough, how about putting all of Earth's server farms in orbit?
The amount of power to run compute by like 2045 will be like the base power of the planet right now. The drain on resources is so high, you need to put that compute in space and just use the power of the sun in space, making the solar cells in space, and do compute in space and just beam the results down.
Yeah.
So I think that's like a really good use of space to help save the planet.
3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition.
If any of those wild ideas come to pass, it'll be thanks in no small part to Tom and his game-changing rocket engines. At the very least, he's made a massive contribution to the weird and wonderful new industries taking shape in space. And one day, Tom hopes to go there himself.
So you grew up as a kid being interested in this. You ended up working on a company that's sending people to space all the time now. Is that something you've ever wanted to do?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I assume you're not like the 6-minute edge of space kind of guy. I would imagine you want a couple of laps around the moon or something like that.
I want to land on the moon.
You want to land on the moon?
I would really, it's like my bucket list item would be to ride an electric dirt bike on the moon. Like jump some graders, you know?
I feel like that is what should happen for Tom Mueller.
It should absolutely happen.